Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you about building a branding guide and accessibility when it comes to Experience Cloud sites, but know that this is across the board for all websites. In previous videos, I set up a sample website. If you are not familiar with Experience Cloud, you can go to my playlist on creating an Experience Cloud site step by step. Let's talk about branding guides. A branding guide has the colors you'll use throughout your website for text, font, and sizes you'll use. There's more to it than that, but that's a basic one to get you started. The first thing I recommend is to pick colors for your website. Either look at other websites and see what color combinations they appeal to you, or if you have a background image, such as the one I've already placed on here, you can use the color in the image you have. There's a couple ways to do it. My portfolio is linked. I want you to go to my portfolio, and I'm on the page that says Build Your Brand. Since recording this, the navigation may have changed, but you always go to the Build Your Brand page. And under Branding Tools, I have two branding tools that will help you. Number one is your image color picker, and number two is the contrast checker for accessibility. One thing about Experience Cloud or any websites that you're on, they use what we call hex codes or RGB codes. Those are the codes of the colors. You can't say, oh, I like that light pink, and say, I want light pink. You got to know the code for that. In Experience Cloud, if you go to the builder in the top left, this paintbrush that says theme, you click on that. It may look like this when you go there. It may look like this, but you're going to go hit the caret back, go to theme, and go to colors. You'll notice you have areas to put colors in, the text color of the page, the detail text color, and so on. All of these require this RGB code. It will also accept a hex code. That is what we're going to get. I'm going to show you how to get those. But some things that you do want to know also is if we go back here, whatever font you use, pick a primary and then you pick a header font. The primary would be the text going across the page, such as right here or right here, and the header would be this. You want to always pick and write down the fonts that you're using. The reason is if you come back a month later and you start creating a second page and your font doesn't match, it's very off-putting. Consistency is key when you're branding. Whatever font that you want to use, write it down. You're going to create a branding guide where you're going to write all these things we're talking about today. It might only be one piece of paper for you. You're going to keep track of your hex codes that you're using for your sites or your RGB codes for colors, your font types that you're using, so you can consistently use them throughout the site. You'll also want to keep track and record the font sizes that you use. For example, this one here says, welcome to my portfolio. If I click on it, I can see it's 36 point. I'm going to write that down, and throughout my entire website, I'm going to use 36 point when I need a big header line. Down here in my regular font, I'm going to use 20. I have that written down with my colors, hex codes, RGB codes, font type, and my font sizes. You will use those throughout your site to give it consistency. I don't know if you've ever been on a site where you go to one page and then the next page is so different, you're not sure if you're on the same site. That doesn't work really well. It makes people feel like they've left and they don't have as much trust in the site, but you want to keep it consistent. In order to get those codes, first you find the colors you like, or you pick an image, and then we get the color hex codes and RGB codes. Right here, you go to my site. Again, it's the Build Your Brand page. Let's start with the image color picker. That's going to help us get those codes. I've already gone to that right here. I'm going to take a screenshot of either the color I like on a website, or for me, I've taken a screenshot of this top image right here. I'm going to use my image. I'm going to upload it. Already we can see it gave me a beautiful palette. Maybe I just like the way the colors go together and I want to use the color palette. I could pick that one, then I have the code right there. That's the code. You're going to write both of those codes down. I like the bright green. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm moving it across until I find the green that I like. When I click on it, see how both of the colors, the big box and the little box next to the hex and RGB code, are the same color? Those are my colors. Even if I move off and it changes, I'm going to write those down. A secondary color that I like is this light gray. You start with 2 colors to get you started. I'm going to take those colors and I want to use them. But the other thing I need to check is accessibility. We go over here to build my brand again, and it says contrast checker. What's really important to know are there are people of different abilities, and they cannot see websites the same way. There's color blindness, there's PTSD, there's seizures, there's visual impairments. Whatever the ability is, what you want to do is make it as accessible as possible. A contrast checker checks to see if it is a difficult color combination to see. I've already gone to that here. I put in my hex values here. I get a value and I start going down, and what I see is I've failed an accessibility test all around. Now, you don't have to know why, but I can tell why. When I look at these 2 colors together, it's very difficult to read between the contrasts. So immediately I can see that. If you don't know, it's okay. You might not be able to see it, but this is going to give you the accessibility standards for everybody of all abilities. There's a couple different things. I can go back and try to find more colors and go back and forth, but I know I really like that green and I want to keep it. I can do one of 2 things. I can take the green and I can start moving my mouse and see if I can get it to pass. I finally got it to pass, but it's a color I don't like. So we're going to go back to more of the green that I liked here. I'm going to see if I can adjust the second color to get it to pass. I can either go up, and of course it's completely failing, or I can go back and look at that. It's starting to pass, and there we go. Right there. I know if I use these 2 colors together, it's going to pass. Is it almost a dark black? Yes. But if it works and it keeps people on my site, I'm going to use it. I've already written down these codes, and there's a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to, at the top left where it says theme, where it's a paintbrush, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to colors. When I looked at the colors, I liked the dark text better. I'm going to put in my hex code for the RGB of the dark color that I liked. And right here, I'm just going to type that in, hit enter. That's saved. I would like my action color to be the green. The action color right now is a blue. It's under the home. That means if there's something going on that requires an action, it's going to be that color. I'm going to enter my action color that I liked, and that was accessible here, and hit enter. Now I see this has changed, and I like it. My text color right here did change. This I have set to a different color, but anything I haven't already set is going to appear that way. I could go into this now and change it. But for now, I'm going to leave it. The only other thing that I noticed is my button doesn't match. It's not even close. Well, this button was created differently. It's not going to go with the branding guide. It is a hero image. It is in my step-by-step Experience Cloud playlist if you want to know how to set it up. When I click on it, I'm going to go to primary button because that is where it is set up. I'm going to match those colors that I just put in there. The button color, I'm going to put in that code. And again, you can use either the RGB or the hex. I find the hex is easier to use. Okay. Now this color matches the background or the main color. The text hover color we'll talk about in a minute. The background, I want it to be that green. I really like the green. I think it'll go well. So let's try it out. A lot of using Experience Cloud is just trying things out, seeing if they work. Now this matches. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, I like it. It's here. I like it. It's here. And I like that it's here. However, when I hover over it, it does not look good to me when it changes back to the blue. I will click on my hero, go back to my primary button. I'm going to copy the code I just put in here. I'm going to take my button background color, put it there. I don't want it the same, but I want a lighter version of it. So I'll take a lighter version, see what that looks like. I like that. The other thing is I could take the color, how my text changes, and the color goes from this dark color to white when I hover it, and I could change it, but I do like that this white matches this right here. The other thing you can do is create a border color. Let's go with that dark color I started with that's the same as my text. We're going to put that hex code in. I can see it's given a definitive line on the outside. When I hover, I can see that, and I like it. However, I'm wondering what it's going to look like with the white around it. So I'm going to move this up to complete white. I like that better. For me, it matches this better. it looks nice, and it goes well. As a reminder for branding, write down your hex code colors, pick your colors, make sure they're accessible, then you can put them in Experience Cloud. As you move through the process of Experience Cloud, these other colors can change. I've added a link, but what happened there was it changed it to the color that I have set for linking. If I go back to the, my link color is red. I don't really like that, and I don't want it to be red. Now, normally I'm not going to put a link right in here. Let's remove that. Possibly not in a headline, so it goes back to the regular text color. I might add a link down here in this area, but I don't want it to appear red. I can test out different colors. Links tend to be a light blue. As I'm experimenting on my site and I see the link color, I can change it. I have seen websites where we've changed it for the client. They like a certain color. These other colors that are available here, as you work through your site, you'll find places that you can change or do something with them. When you do start having authenticated users, your login page, I tend to always change the error text color to red because it gets your attention. Again, as always, you want to hit the publish button to save your changes. Now go build your branding guide.